Before you begin creating any data collection tools, you need to start by defining the goal of your data collection system. Is it intended to collect data for a single event, such as a training session? Or are you collecting a variety of data? How might your system need to grow in the future? For example, you may end up collecting training information for multiple years. Additionally, you also need to identify who will be entering data, as well as the types of reporting you will need. Who is going to be able to view the data reports? Will the program administrator need access to all the data, or just selected parts? Will participants in different sites have access to data from other sites, or only their own data? Once you've addressed these questions, you can now begin to sketch out your system, starting with your data collection tools and entry. You can use a data flow to document your system. It shows your system structures and data collection tools, and the way that data will pass from one structure to the next. Having a data flow is good practice for multiple reasons. If you ever need to trace an error in your system, having your system diagrammed allows you to work backwards more easily. If your system grows, having a map allows you to integrate new data sources and new reports. Lastly, if someone else is coming in on the project, having a clear map will help them to get up to speed quickly. Lucidchart is an add-on for Google Drive that comes in a free and paid version. The free version provides you with all the tools that you'll need to create a data flow easily. I'm now going to switch to Lucidchart. In order to install Lucidchart to your Google Drive, you'll need to go to New, go down to More, and then Connect More Apps. From there, you can search for Lucidchart, select it, and then here you have the option to connect it to Drive. Once you've connected it, you will need to register. Once you've registered your account, you can create a new document by going to New, More, and Lucidchart. Select Blank Flowchart. To add the shapes you will need to create a data flow, go to the bottom left-hand corner and select More Shapes. From the menu, scroll down to Business and select Data Flow. Hit Save. Down at the bottom, you now have your data flow icons. To set up a data flow, you will start by selecting your source, which will likely be whoever's going to be entering and collecting data. This is represented by the rectangle or external entity. You can drag it anywhere you want in your diagram. You can now enter a description of what's happening. If you want to change the color, just select the box, go to Paint, and select the color that you wish to use. The next step you're going to model is the first process, or what's going to happen to the data entered by the data collector. Select Process and drag it underneath your external entity. You'll note that processes are numbered in the order in which they occur, starting with 1 and going through as many as you need until you get down to your final report. You want to enter a description here of what is happening to the data. For our example, the data collector is going to complete the coaching log. The next thing that happens to our data is that it is filtered. So I'm going to drag another process over. I'm going to change to number 2, and I'm going to insert my description. After the data is filtered, our last step is that it feeds into our dashboards for our different sites. In our example, there are 4 sites, A through D. To represent the final stop for the data, otherwise called a sink, which is the receiver of data from the system, you use the external entity box again. Drag that over and fill in your description. Once you've completed adding your sinks, you now want to add arrows to show the way in which the data flows from one step to the next. On your toolbar, you can select the arrow feature and then just drag your arrows. Once you've added your arrows, you might also consider adding a little bit of text to explain what is happening throughout the process. You can do that by going to the standard menu, selecting text, and dragging a text box over. Then you can enter a description of what's happening. So for example, data collectors submit data by completing the coaching log. Then the data is sent to be filtered, and then filtered data is sent to each site's dashboard. In addition to adding descriptions of the processes, you might also decide to include the names of the data collection instruments. And so for example here, I might add coaching log. Once you've completed your data flow, it will be saved automatically in your drive. You can share it with other people on your team, and you can also make updates as your system grows.